This is a Fatal 4 podcast.
Oh! Didn't get all of it.
Welcome to Didn't Get All of It. I'm Paul Griffin, and this week we are talking WWE's World Title Program from the upcoming Premium Live event to WrestleMania 41, plus an eventful AEW Dynamite, updates on King and Queen of the Ring tournament, and news about the future of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Chuck Taylor, and unfortunately, Vince McMahon. But first, joining me as the rest of the Fatal Four, we have Cody.
You have me. I'm here.
Also joining us, of course, B-Rob.
Pew, 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 pew. I'm DJ Zima Ion.
And finally, joining us is also Pro Wrestling Noah.
You know how they have like the Oreo thins? They're like the regular Oreos, but they're just like really thin cookie wafers with like the little bit of cream in the middle. Do you know they have
Oreos? Yeah,
they're healthy Oreos, except do you know that they also have double stuff versions of those?
Wouldn't that just be a regular Oreo?
That's like I saw that in the grocery store and I was just like, doesn't this like defeat the purpose? Because it's supposed to be a healthy Oreo, in quotes, healthy Oreo. But they're just like, okay, we'll give you the little wafers, but like, what if it just had a big old dollop of cream in there?
Yeah.
Because we all know we're here for the cream. So when you're eating an Oreo.
Creamy.
Here for the Cream would be a great podcast title name if we weren't making all of our topics or our titles about pro wrestling.
That's true. Yeah. Especially with some of the stuff we have to talk about later. Maybe not.
It could be here for the queen of the ring.
Yes.
Queen of the Week? What are we, children?
Yeah.
For people who listen to this on like 4x speed, that's probably what we sound like.
That's true, yeah. Cody with his little propeller cap and lollipop talking about Queen of the Wing.
Young child
Queen of the
wants one
Wing.
of those propeller hats.
Those can't be hard to find, right? Propeller hats?
They shouldn't be. I hadn't looked, but you want
I mean,
one.
I don't know if you can go to
like,
Target
Lids doesn't
and find one.
Lids isn't selling them at the
Yeah,
mall.
yeah.
If we can
Designer
get propeller hats with
propeller
our show logo on it, we should do it.
I could probably make that happen.
We are working on merch for all the people
Yeah.
who want merch.
And have B-Rob's kid wear it
Yeah.
because they so desperately want one.
I'm looking it up right now.
Before we get into the show, just want to thank everybody who signed up for the Patreon in the last week, and everybody who signed up before the last week. Also, thank you. And for those of you listening for the first time, make sure you subscribe to Didn't Get All of It wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss an episode. New shows drop every Friday morning. And also check out fatal4pod.com. That's fatal, F-O-U-R, pod.com. For links to all of our social media, information about our Patreon, and also ways to send us emails for the show, which is something we will talk about later. But first, Noah, would you like to tell us some news of the week?
We got some news here. There's actually a decent amount of news this week. I guess first off, there was the announcement that for WrestleMania 41, it is currently scheduled that Cody Rhodes versus The Rock is a match that will be happening. The idea being that it will be the WWE Championship versus the People's Championship. The nice little belt that The Rock carries there with the bull face on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I
What do you
enjoyed
think about this?
I enjoyed their feud this past WrestleMania. I thought they worked well together. But I don't care.
Well, they'll
I-
really have to make us earn it.
I'm sure they will, but like, I don't know. Cody won. I guess he didn't.
But Cody
beat the
didn't
Rock.
beat The
I mean,
Rock. Rock pinned
yeah,
Cody.
He needs his win back there, but I definitely don't care about this People's Championship. I don't know. I just feel like I still think The Rock and Roman is the far more interesting match.
Yeah, and that's what I expected 41 to be.
Right.
That, but whatever.
Yeah.
Like Roman is, or rather, The Rock is disappointed in Roman Reigns for not getting the job done. And
I wonder if they drag it out even further in that like Solo is building this bloodline of non-bloodline people.
Mm-hmm.
And I do wonder if they're going to have this illusion of friendship between everybody until The Rock can't get it done against Cody. And then everybody splits and they do like bloodline A versus bloodline B, with Rock leading the Solo group and Roman leading the Uso group.
They would need one more Uso though, right?
Well, maybe Solo falls out and The Rock takes over the New Japan boys.
Maybe.
How weird is all of that? That's so weird.
wait, so you said bloodline A and bloodline B. Is it A positive and B negative, or is it?
Yeah, and then there's going to be bloodline type O,
Yeah.
That's the one I am.
which allegedly can't catch COVID.
That's not true.
No,
I got
not true at
COVID.
all.
I'm
No,
O
no,
positive, and I gotten COVID.
I did my own research. I saw it on the
Wait.
internet.
Hold on, you people know your blood type?
I don't know my blood type.
I certainly don't.
I donated blood. I think that's how I found out mine,
Oh,
because they were just able to tell.
I was in
me.
the military. They made us know it.
What type are you, B-Rob?
I am O positive.
You're kidding me?
Hey,
B-Rob
O
is
positive
not
boys.
B-Rob is not B
I know.
positive. That's
can you do a transfusion where you like take all of your blood out and put in all B blood?
I don't think that's how that works.
No,
There
I don't
might
think
be
so.
more complications there.
I hope I never have to do that either.
See,
Sounds
do you
really
know
weird, but I think it's worth it for the bit.
do you know a vampire? Would that help?
No, you just need it works in movies, so you need to be filming a movie while it happens. And then
That's
also you should probably like be a Bond villain. Because that seems like something they would
does sound
do.
like him.
Like he looks exactly the same as anybody else, but he switched his blood type. So that's his weird quirk.
Or it's like, did y'all see the Meg 2? Did y'all see the
Electric
sequel
Boogaloo?
to the Meg?
Didn't
There's
see
a-
the Meg 1. So
there's
no.
a moment in that movie, and me and my friends talk about it constantly whenever we talk about like suspension of disbelief in movies, where they're at the bottom of the fucking ocean, like touching ground, and they're in a situation where they're in a decompression chamber, and Jason Statham needs to leave the decompression chamber and go out into the ocean, and they're like, yeah, that's dumb, like the pressure would crush you in an
Crush you,
instant.
yeah.
And they're like, no. If Jason Statham holds his nose and blows air and like basically busts open his sinuses, it will depressurize him so that he can go outside. And the justification, explain this to me, doctor, kind of line is, you don't see fish wearing metal suits, do you? Which is now a constant refrain with me and my friends whenever something dumb in a movie happens. They're like, you don't see fish wearing metal suits, do you?
Oh my.
It's so
Also-
We're gonna get so much feedback of people that were going to watch the Meg 2 before you said that.
Yeah, no, and I also have a question for you as well.
Uh-huh.
Why did you rate the new Planet of the Apes so low? The lead character's name was
It
Noah.
was not that 3.5 is a good rating, B-Rob. It is a solid movie. I didn't love it as much as the Caesar trilogy.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good jumping off point for where the franchise is going.
We
but
need to talk about that. 'Cause
Yeah,
I want to talk about that.
that's a different
The-
podcast.
The only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is because how it ended. I'm not saying it was a bad ending. This is word for word what my review says too. Is just like it was different from what I expected, and I just couldn't fully give it a 5 stars. But I gave it 4.5.
Man. To get back
I think
to
I was gonna say I think 3.5 stars is probably what The Rock and Cody would end up getting.
Yes,
The rest of the
I bet
Ooh.
no, I bet it turns out to
I
be
bet
really
it'd be good.
good.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say before you guys went off on this tirade about fucking movies. Do we think Cody's gonna? And I said this on a previous show that we hosted, but I am concerned about Cody's ability to stay over as a face for the next year. Do we think people will give a shit about Cody becoming the people's champion?
Well, so
And
that
I
was
mean that I don't mean that in carrying the belt around. I mean that
Sure.
in name only.
Oh, if he becomes the people's champion, or
Cody has
if
to
we
win.
care about him.
mean,
becoming
currently-
Putting the belt on The
champion?
Rock is the dumbest fucking thing in the world. You should
Yes.
not do it.
No. Absolutely. Yeah.
Currently, as we speak, Cody is by title only the people's champion.
Right. He
So-
just needs the belt.
He just needs the belt. But like to your point, man, between now and 41, that's a whole fucking year. Will he even be champion that year? Will he lose it? Will he get it back by then? Will the title even come into play? Or are they just going to have like a freaking special event, main event over this freaking bull belt? Weird shit.
I don't
definitely
see
don't
him
want that.
losing. I don't see him losing before Mania because they like their long title reigns. But I also don't. I don't know. He doesn't have any credible challengers. We'll talk about that later. But
Yeah.
I don't think like there's not a worry of him like accidentally losing it to an Austin Theory.
Or Logan Paul.
Like I said, we'll talk about it later.
I don't know.
Noah, I should not give you the news as your responsibility.
But I just said I went to school for journalism. Sure.
Did you? Because that's more than most wrestling media people.
I have a degree in broadcast journalism.
There you go.
Which we're technically doing right now. The WWE television. We now currently know where all of those shows will end up, where you can watch them, and when they will be made available. So, on Mondays, you can expect to watch Monday Night Raw on Netflix starting January 2025.
That's wild.
On Tuesday, not switching days, switching channels, but not days. NXT is going to the CW starting October 24th, which is coming up. That's this year. And then still on Fridays, Friday night, SmackDown is moving from Fox to USA September 2024, which I am very excited about because I am a millennial. I do not have cable, and I mooch off of my in-laws' cable login info. And for whatever reason, Fox does not let you watch primetime television through their browser. So I have not been able to watch SmackDown live for long as every time I log in, it's they're like, oh, sorry, you can't watch primetime. Here, watch this news segment that ran at like 3 p.m.
Ew. What is?
Yeah, I know.
Well, the login for your in-laws. What is their provider?
I think you were just asking them for their password.
Yeah,
Like,
for
like,
some
oh,
password,
I was
yeah.
like,
Wait a
what?
minute.
What's their login?
Don't
Yeah, do you also have
spoil
their
it.
social security number? And
I was yeah. Give me their. Can you send me their email and their social? I have some credit cards open. There's watches that need to be bought.
Yeah, I don't know if the provider matters. I don't know.
Well,
But-
it might. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, it's AT&T.
So
Well, I
AT&T
have
provides
AT&T.
Uverse, which should be able to watch local Fox,
Yeah,
but it doesn't.
I think Fox does that because they know that people like me exist. So they're trying to shut people like me out from
That's really
enjoying their premium content.
That's weird. All of that's very weird. But okay.
Yep.
Well,
But
now
not
you can watch it
USA.
on USA.
Yeah, because I'm still able to watch Raw on USA live every Monday at 7.
Do you have a Netflix account?
I do have a Netflix account, so I will still be able to watch Raw when it moves starting January 2025.
Have you guys watched any Netflix live content?
No, the only thing that I plan on watching is the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. That's the only thing that has my
That's on
curiosity for
Netflix?
live. Yes.
When is that?
I am not 100% sure, but that's where it will be at.
Because they also announced Christmas Day NFL games on Netflix.
I did see that.
I feel like these are all like I think they're doing tests to see if they can handle a live audience.
Yeah, wasn't that John Mulaney special live? Like, didn't they air those episodes live?
they
Yeah,
also did the Tom Brady roast live.
the Tom Brady roast was live, and then David Chang has a cooking show that I watch on Tuesdays that's live. Problem is, I don't watch it live; I watch it recorded, which is quick. They put it up real quick.
So the Logan
I think Netflix is going to need to overhaul their platform though to adjust for all this live content they're bringing in.
Yeah, Logan Paul and Jake Paul and Mike Tyson is July 20th this year. It's going to be here in Dallas at AT&T Stadium.
What do you mean here? You live in Houston.
It's in Texas.
It's a short 4-hour drive, Cody.
Here is in Texas, which by Texas law, I went to the pistol range today and I bought another gun. So forgive me if my internet goes out because I might have dropped it.
That has happened before.
One of my coworkers moved to Houston recently from New York, and I noticed on his team's background he had big Longhorns mounted above his like bookshelf or something.
Oh no!
And I'm like, I appreciate your horns. It's very Texan of you, but you're not a real Texan until you start conceal carrying to your Zoom calls. And he said, soon enough.
Well, goddamn! I guess I'm a real Texan.
Yeah, you probably are. I assume that Raw is going to be on at the same time it always is, just on Netflix. Like, I doubt they're trying to change the way people consume their media. They're just finding new channels for it.
Yeah, I'm glad they're not changing the days because there was like some scuttlebutt about them taking Raw off Mondays. But like,
it's a perfect night to watch it.
It's just such a staple. Like my entire life, it's been on Monday nights.
Yeah, that's why Paul can't do anything but not watch it live.
I love watching it live. It's like favorite part of the week is Monday nights.
Yeah,
I know that sounds crazy. Like I genuinely enjoy like the moment work is done on Monday, just eating dinner and watching wrestling.
Hell yeah. And that's the way they introduce it too, right? It's Monday Night Raw. I feel like they don't even always say Friday Night SmackDown when introducing SmackDown. Just like, welcome to SmackDown. But Monday Night Raw is always Monday Night Raw. So yeah, there's institutions, damn it.
Well, it used to be Raw is War, but we don't do that anymore.
That's true.
At the moment.
Thanks, Osama.
Well, speaking of something that someone might not be doing anymore, unfortunately, our next news story is about Chuck Taylor, who has been suspended, or I'm sorry, not suspended. He's sustained a potentially career-ending injury. So let me look this. I have a picture that I snapshotted of this
injury?
article. Here we go. Okay, so apparently, I there was a Fightful has like their like big database of pro wrestling injuries, like people who are currently on the bench. And for Chuck Taylor, it says that he has been dealing with an injured ankle since at least the January 17th episode of Dynamite, because he was scheduled to show up in a match that night, but then it was rescheduled to where he wasn't appearing. And then Trent Beretta, in a promo on May 1st, said that his career is over and he will need surgery. So Chuck hasn't said anything official yet as of this recording. But word on the street is that he is also like kind of in a more production and training role at the moment.
Which, I'm not going to lie, perfect fit for him.
Sure.
Yeah,
It probably is.
I feel like he'll be a good producer.
Yeah.
I don't want to be one of those it's a work kind of guys, because I don't think it is. But I do think it's one of those cautiously optimistic situations.
Yeah.
Where it's he's retired for now.
And I feel like they've done a good job kind of weaving that into the story. But just the biggest bummer out of all of this is that the Best Friends are like one of the most over tag teams in AEW. You know, like they have been since the beginning.
Haven't done anything.
They never got to have like I guess their biggest feud was with Proud and Powerful, maybe.
And that never had anything to come of it either.
I mean, they had the street fight, which they ran back, amongst themselves a couple times, but they never got to, have the belts. Orange eventually, outgrew them in a sense. I mean, became a more reputable singles competitor, kind of, wasn't featured with the Best Friends as much.
Well, but that was the thing, though. I mean, Cassidy was a compelling character. I mean, you got this plain Jane guy in the beginning, and so much has been added to that base since they started using him on AEW and whatnot. But Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta have been the same since day one, and there's been no growth really there. The only thing they really added was Sue, and that's it. So it's about time, players.
Yeah.
About time to cut the cords like Noah did.
And I think they're also like the story that, Trent turning heel and being mad at Orange for like basically abandoning them, I think is good. Also a good way to weave that into the story of the show. So at least they're, making some fun content out of an unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
Speaking of unfortunate situations, this next bit of news is kind of heavy, but it's WWE has responded to side with Vince McMahon in support of a motion to compel the case that they are involved in to arbitration. Sorry. So what is basically happening here, at least from what I can see from these details, is that they're motioning to move to arbitration because of the rules to the NDA that she signed. She can't like discuss like what needs to be settled in court publicly, so they need to move it to arbitration. And WWE is supporting. It was Vince McMahon's team filed for that motion, and WWE's side is supporting Vince McMahon in that decision.
I have some issues with the way this headline is phrased.
It makes it seem very sinister.
They are not necessarily supporting Vince McMahon. They are technically defendants in this case because she brought the lawsuit against both of them. And there are legal teams involved. And if her documentation that is signed does say, we have to take this to arbitration, this is not for the public, they technically have an argument to be made there. Do I think that everything she said is true and that he fucking did it? Absolutely.
Yep.
But this is not as simple as like one team can just say like they're still going to have to, they're on the defense. They have to defend themselves as a company, despite the fact that the company is not made up the same way it was when this took place and various other things. It's a disgusting case. There might be people involved still that were involved at the time. These are things we don't know. I'm sure there are things they don't want getting out if that's the case. I think there's just so many things to take away from this, but it's hard to like. We being the hosts and everybody else being the listeners don't have all the information.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to be like, oh, I know who subject number one is, or, oh, they're just defending Vince McMahon. They're defending themselves as a company because WWE getting sued for this stuff is a big problem for them, and it's going to hurt their bottom line and their business, and it's a whole thing. And I know it sounds like I'm defending them, and in a way, I'm defending their actions because not the earlier actions, the current ones.
Making sense of their actions.
They kind of have to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's
like
not
being sued.
Yeah. Triple H is not walking into a room being like, no, we're not talking about this. There's a legal team of probably a couple people who are saying, this is what the paperwork says. This is what we're doing. Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves being keyboard warriors, as fun as that is. And as much as we want to see Vince burn in a pile of problematic people, I don't think that's happening right away, but there is a process that has to be gone through here. Will this go to court someday? Maybe. Should it? Probably. But if it can be handled behind the scenes without airing everyone's dirty laundry, which is probably also terrifying for the victim to be sitting in a room with, the abuser, going through every intimate detail. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to solve this. I'm not a legal expert. I'm a podcast host. So be careful where you get your information on this stuff too, because most of them are not legal experts. They are podcast hosts.
Or just like some guy with a Twitter account.
Who could that be?
I'm not saying anyone's, but there's so many of those people on Twitter who
everyone does have a Twitter account, unfortunately. Does anybody else have any thoughts on this thing? I feel like we're going to talk about it for the duration of this podcast. Not this episode, but like the existence of the show.
Yeah, as this situation develops.
I will say the same as I would say in reference to Chris Jericho, Matt Hardy, and Jeff Hardy. Fuck Vince McMahon.
Oh yeah, I hate that guy.
Yep.
I wish
That's all
him
the
worst.
news.
That's all the news?
Yeah.
All the nudes.
All right. Well, unless nobody wants to talk about WWE's legal response, which I kind of don't. I was pissed that there was an update this week because I'm like, fuck, we got to put that in the news now, because I don't want to talk about stuff like that. It makes me sick. Yeah, we're not going to talk about it after the break, which we're going to right now. We are going to talk about the WWE World Title programs. They've got stuff on deck for the King and Queen of the Ring from Saudi Arabia, and we can talk about the King and Queen of the Ring itself when we come back right after this. Wow, I loved those ads. They were so localized and specific for you. What a great break that was for all of us. Folks, we're back. We are talking now about the world title programs. They spent a good amount of time on SmackDown and Raw this week talking about who is facing who at King and Queen of the Ring live from Saudi Arabia. And, well, let's listen to some of that real quick.
I bet a lot of people stand across from you and assume just, what a dumbass. Since we are going over facts, the fact is that if I was to win that United States Championship, that would make me a WWE Grand Slam champion. We are taking credit for something that doesn't belong to you, doesn't belong to me. This right here, it's a team. And at the Queen and King of the Ring in Saudi Arabia, you are going to find out where you stand on that team.
And you made Punk more important than yourself, this championship, and you made Punk more important than your wife. Wait, Drew, let's not forget about the part that you proceeded to get your ass whooped by a one-armed man. Oh. So yeah, I cashed in. Now you know what? Your elbow's gonna heal. You're gonna get cleared. So what? You want a shot at the world title? Fine, you got it.
All right, so let's start with Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul. They introduced Logan Paul as Cody's next challenger. I think that's justifiable for various reasons.
Because he's impulsive.
Well, there's that. That helps. It's
also Logan Paul is the longest reigning champion in WWE right now.
What does that mean?
He's held the belt the longest.
He's held the belt longer than anyone else that is currently a champion has held theirs.
Oh, like physically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
they kept saying that, and I was like, "What the fuck are they talking about?"
He's the longest reigning current champion because everybody else just won it.
Yeah, they just got it. So their clock just started while his is still continuously running.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I thought they were saying like he like when you do a contest where everyone sees how long they can touch the car. I thought it was like he's literally been holding the belt for that many days.
Yeah,
I thought that was like the funny justification they were trying to make for that statement.
The Guinness World Record guy is there with his fucking stopwatch.
I mean, he does take it everywhere. You see it with him on his podcasts and everywhere he goes. But no, that is not what they meant.
Speed is there keeping him honest.
So I think there's a couple things with this. One, he has no legitimate challenger, though I think you could make an argument for LA Knight getting a shot and winning it, hopefully someday. But also, Cody doesn't have a challenger right now. And until you turn somebody or find a mutual fight between like Orton and Owens against Cody, this is the match to make. My concern is that in the promo, they sure made it seem like it's title for title, where Cody could walk out with 2 belts. But I can't find anything anywhere online confirming that. WWE doesn't talk about it. They just say champion versus champion. They don't say for what belt. They're doing a contract signing on SmackDown this week, but I don't know if
nothing
it's for
about
the US
winner
title.
take all.
I don't know if the U.S. title's on the line here at all, and I don't think they do either.
I feel like it must be because Cody says that if he wins the United States title, he would be a Grand Slam champion.
Yeah, but he also said Queen and King of the Ring, and it's King and Queen of the Ring. He just was all out of sorts.
But I don't know. It feels like it's title for title, but if that's the case, I can't imagine a world where this ends in anything other than
bullshit.
Some bullshit. Because I do not see Cody dropping the title to Logan this soon, and
at all. Not soon. Not this soon.
What, you motherfucker?
I think eventually Logan's got to win the WWE title.
No.
Maybe eventually
he can win it in a contest. Like they're doing a giveaway for a replica title, then he can win it then.
Logan, I'm a big fan of Logan Paul. I think he is fantastic for the business and is a very good wrestler. I think you reward that at some point and make him the champion. Not now, not maybe in a year or so, but
now, we'll reward him by giving him a spot in the celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame. How about
please, he would not be in the celebrity wing at this point.
I wouldn't be opposed to a Logan Paul world title run if it is like the summer of Logan and it's a 3-month or something reign.
Yes.
But right now when they're hooked on these long-term things where guys don't show up half the time,
don't do that.
I don't want to entertain that. But,
well, I mean, if you want a summer Logan, don't you think this would be the summer to do it with SummerSlam being in his hometown?
No. Cody just got the belt. It's not the last thing you do is take it off of him.
Okay, I agree. But I also don't see Cody winning the United States title because then it's just kind of like, what's the point? Like,
Logan Paul has other shit to do and he can't be around, which he's not anyway. So fuck it, get the belt off of him.
Yeah. I mean, no, Logan Paul is around.
Yeah,
everywhere else.
No, he's there like every second week.
Yeah, he's there more than Roman Reigns is.
He's there way more than Roman Reigns is and was. And Roman Reigns' only job is wrestler.
Well, that's different.
It's definitely different.
You can't be mad at Roman because he got a great legal representation and freaking management.
I don't think that was something that was negotiated in his contract. I think that was, what if you just didn't come to work? And he said, okie doke.
Who died?
Like, this isn't a Brock Lesnar negotiation where he's like, I only want to work six fights a year.
I mean, you'd be surprised.
I
would be, but I don't think that's the case.
So I think what happens at the premium live event is Logan uses the brass knucks but gets caught this time. And it's a disqualification victory for Cody. The titles don't change hands on a DQ. They both keep their titles. Suck. And then I think it sets up, and then you just run the match back at SummerSlam, because I think it's going to be a great match, and I think there's a lot of story to be told between these two guys. I found it interesting they didn't touch upon in Logan's promo, which we didn't play any audio clips of it, but I thought Logan was really good here. Is that Logan is a big proponent of Cody, like off screen. He was the first WWE superstar to tweet out #WeWantCody after the whole WrestleMania main event debacle earlier this year. He's had him on his podcast. He's signed him to Prime. He's the first, Cody Rhodes is the first WWE superstar to sign to Prime outside of Logan, of course. So like, I think there's a story to be told there of Logan being like, look, the only reason you're in the position you're in is because of me. Like, I got the ball rolling on We Want Cody. I got you back into the main event. I got you this big endorsement deal. Like, you owe me.
No. Because Cody did that all because Cody did all himself, and regardless of you saying all those things that Logan Paul did that for himself to make himself money. He's smart. I would give him that.
But that's the story. He's a heel, B-Rob.
Nah, fuck that guy.
He's a heel.
He's a heel. These are the points that a heel would make because they're valid points. But to your point, like, you can argue them. That's what makes a good heel in pro wrestling. So I think there's a lot of story to be told there, and I think you do this shady finish here, and then you run the match back at SummerSlam, main event in Cleveland. I don't know. I think it's good.
No, because if it was anybody else but Logan Paul, you wouldn't be having all this fever for it. I think you just like Logan Paul a lot.
I do like Logan Paul a lot, but I also like Cody a lot. I like WWE. I love WWE.
Hey, folks. This might sound a little weird, but if you've been listening to the show, everything you just heard was recorded on Thursday at around, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. At the same time, something like a tornado rolled through Houston and took out 3/4 of the hosts. We're all here now. We all got power back at various times, but it is now Sunday. So we have since seen SmackDown, some of us, and are going to continue the show with all of that knowledge in our head. Everyone is safe. No one's dead, as far as I can tell. And we all have power back, so the show must go on. No act of God is going to stop us from talking about the week that was in pro wrestling, especially such an important week like the one we just witnessed. Right, gang? How important was this week of wrestling?
Very.
Super.
Yeah.
So important.
So what we were about to get into was going to be the King of the Ring talk. But if you have been listening, you probably heard us discuss if the title match between Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul was going to be for both titles. They answered that question on Friday because my hunch is that Cody was misspeaking, or it wasn't something they had figured out yet, or whatever, last week on SmackDown. But this week they did confirm it is only for one title. They did a whole contract signing segment where Logan Paul basically said, like, you haven't earned a shot at my title, but I've earned a shot at everyone else's title because I'm so good, which honestly,
Good point.
Excellent segment. I thought this was really good. Cody Rhodes didn't give a shit. He's like, fuck it, I'll just beat you up at Saudi Arabia anyway for my title, which I assume is what's going to happen. That saves us a big headache of how are they going to book themselves out of that corner.
Makes the match a lot more intriguing.
Yeah. Great segment, though. Something worth seeing on SmackDown this week. But everything we just talked about that you just heard has been clarified, and we are now clarifying it here as we record 3 days after we initially recorded. So, all that being said, let's update everyone on the King of the Ring. Last week on SmackDown, Carmelo Hayes defeated Baron Corbin. Orton defeated AJ Styles. Nia Jax defeated Naomi. Jade Cargill defeated Piper Niven. Bianca Belair defeated Candice LeRae. Tama Tonga defeated Dawkins. I think at a house show, Tiffany Stratton defeated Mia Yim. LA Knight defeated Santos Escobar. And then on Raw this week, Io Sky defeated Shayna Baszler. Lyra Valkyria defeated Zoe Stark. Gunther defeated Kofi Kingston. And then Jey Uso, unfortunately, defeated Ilya Dragunov, which leads us into the finals, where next week on Raw, Gunther will face Jey Uso. This week on SmackDown, Randy Orton defeated Carmelo Hayes, and then LA Knight lost to Tama Tonga. And we are set up with Gunther versus Jey Uso, Randy Orton versus Tama Tonga. The winners will face each other on this side to decide who is the King of the Ring. I think there's two outcomes here that I'm not excited about. Or, sorry, one that I'm not excited about. You could very much get a very good Randy Orton versus Gunther match, or you could get Jey Uso versus Tama Tonga.
I think that's probably going to be the deal.
Yeah.
They've already teased something there, but that upsets me greatly because Gunther versus Orton is way better.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and
Tama Tonga's not even over yet.
Yeah, and can we address the obvious stuff about this tournament or whatever? Carmelo Hayes advanced so he can take a springboard RKO. We called that shit. And
he's always jumping into dumb shit.
Yeah, he always doing weird shit. And just a side note, Mia Yim is currently in 2 tournaments. Well, was. She was in this for Queen of the Ring, and she was also in the NXT, or is in the NXT Women's freaking North American Championship match.
What are you talking about? Mia Yim wasn't in this?
Yes, she was. She got beat on the house show, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
What?
Who do you think Mi Chin is?
Oh, sorry.
God damn, Cody.
I don't
You
even
had
think
me
they know what to
guessing
call her
myself.
still.
Well, I'm looking at the fucking thing and I'm like, I literally do not see Mia Yim's name on here. What are you talking about? It's because it says Michin, which is so fucking stupid, by the way. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
can we decide which name she is and pick one? Because
I think they decided. I think it's
is it Michin? Like, is it
Yeah.
finally full on?
But the commentators still
full-blown
call her
Michin?
Mia Yim.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know.
I'm
No
still
one
calling her
knows.
Mia Yim.
I'm gonna. That's her name. I don't.
Mama
know
call
what
it Clay. I'm
Michin
gonna call
is.
it Clay.
Michin just means crazy in Korean,
Yeah.
and it ain't
Well-
super crazy. So
I just learned about Super Crazy.
This is a discussion for a later podcast, I'm sure.
I don't think that the King of the Ring tournament should be just a vehicle for Bloodline stuff.
No, absolutely
Like,
not.
Jey Uso and Tama Tonga do not need this to be how they interact. Like, other than the fact they're on opposite shows, like, who cares? Like, we can get to that eventually. It would seem like a huge waste to not have Gunther and Orton in the finals, because that is a dream match, and
Also,
like,
it's.
that's kind of what the King of the Ring should be.
I mean, Gunther beating Orton, and I assume a 20-minute banger of a match is the way to go.
Absolutely. It would be huge for Gunther. He can become King of the Ring. He can solidify the King of the Ring as a legitimate title now, instead of, just a gimmick that you get handed with a fucking scepter and crown and cape.
That's what I think. Like, Gunther winning, it is an established, like, legitimate, like, career elevating thing.
Yeah.
Jey Uso or Tama Tonga winning is guy carries around a scepter and a crown.
I have a question. Other than the obvious, what's good about Randy Orton?
What?
What?
You mean like everything?
I
Oh, is
mean,
this you being mad that he's old?
No. It's nothing like that. It's just like
He's easily like one of the best to ever step
I
foot.
was say,
in the ring.
did you see the RKO that he did on Carmelo Hayes?
he jumped into him. So I mean,
And he caught him perfectly.
Yeah, and he
was really good.
That's
still
part of
takes
it.
a lot of timing. Yeah.
Part of
Takes
wrestling
two to
is
tango.
that.
yeah, I mean, he's not a. I mean, he is a small guy comparatively, but like a human being is flying at you. I mean, you can,
What?
But anyway,
Catch him.
but
What's your beef with Randy Orton?
I don't care. He doesn't make me feel anything. And
You don't care
I'm
to
just-
see Gunther versus Randy Orton, knowing full well that Randy Orton is extremely good, and so is
at what
Gunther.
though?
At wrestling.
Wrestling.
That's the topic of this podcast.
I mean, he looks good.
He
and,
wrestles
like I
good.
said, like
He's
Doesn't
he's a
he?
credible contender of stature. So if someone beats him, it means something.
well, yeah. I mean, I get that. I mean,
Do you?
first ballot Hall of Famer. We got that. But like, what? I mean, I'm thinking about Gunther and the caliber of performer that he is.
I
and
love
I'm
that you're
thinking
like,
about-
this guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's clearly very good. What makes him so special?
No, it's not that. I know what makes him special is like,
Do you?
know, his time in this thing or whatever. But like, think about Gunther and how he performs in ring and the people that he has performed with.
Yeah.
But think about Randy Orton, punch, kick, rest hold, slap hands, power slam, RKO,
Circle stomps.
awesome.
Circle stomps, DDT. Don't forget
I mean-
dropping him on the announce table a couple times.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, Gunther
Yeah.
deserves
And Gunther does
more.
chops, and he does Boston Crab, and he does chops. Like, if we're
don't
just
know.
going to break down people's moves, like, there's so much more to it. You know
What?
that. What are you doing?
I don't know. He doesn't.
What is this?
It do-
Would you rather see Jey Uso versus Tama Tonga? Get the fuck out of here. Who
No,
cares
I'm
about
not
that?
saying I'd rather that. I'm saying I'm not
With the
excited
fucking
about the
Solo
other
Sikoa
two.
dressed as the Weeknd in the corner.
Yeah, that was funny.
I do want to see Jey Uso and Tama Tonga. It's inevitable, and like, I'm sure it'll be fine. But this is not how we get there. This would be a waste
Yeah.
of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I get
Let's
that,
not
but
do
I'm
it.
just like, I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how to feel about Gunther and Randy. I'm not saying that I don't want it, but like, I'm just not like really hyped about it like you guys are.
Can we talk about the
can't
women
wait.
for a second?
No, I'm not done.
No.
I'm not done here. I bet you will eat your words if that match happens next Saturday.
What match?
Orton versus Gunther.
No,
There's
like
no
I'm saying,
reason that shouldn't be a match of the year contender.
Yeah, I
Even
guess,
if it
I
is
don't know.
like the Orton versus Keith Lee match that took place where Keith Lee fucking squashed Orton in 5 minutes, and it was so cool at that time.
Because Orton is who he is stature wise. I mean, not stature wise, like acclaim wise. It's just
Yeah, but the
'cause of
match
who
itself
he
was
is.
genuinely good, a rare thing for Keith Lee to have. And I think it would be even cooler if Gunther had a match with Orton that went maybe 10 or 15 minutes or
Is
a
that
shocking 5 minutes.
You bring that matchup with Keith Lee. Is that a trend for Randy to lay down for the black man? He went down for Henry.
No.
He went down for Lee. He went down for Kofi.
I mean, Orton's been around for 22 years. I think he's
I
laid
think-
down
I
for
think
in
everybody.
times of importance.
B-Rob, I think that might all just be reparations for that time he said the N-word on a stream.
I
Yeah,
still
he
don't
did do
forgive him
that.
for that. Yeah,
I
don't
did forget that, but
But
Some
other
people
than
probably
that, Randy Orton's great.
who among us hasn't? Okay.
Anyway, let's
All right.
continue. Let's
So
go
anyway,
past
let's
this.
talk about the women. Let's talk
On
about
the-
our
yeah.
queens.
On the ladies'
Queen of the Ring.
side,
I just wanted to say that on Raw, Io Sky and Shayna Baszler
Mhm.
was, I think, a 5-star match. I thought
oh yeah,
this might be a hot take, but this is on my list for match of the year contenders.
Yeah.
Like it's, I think, possibly the best match on television this year.
it's a shame that the presentation around Shayna Baszler is so lackluster because she can really step
She's
it up
good.
at all times, and like Io is so good, and they work very well together. There's no reason that these two shouldn't be seen as bigger acts on TV. But Shayna comes out the silence partially due to her horrible theme song. But they keep reminding you, it's like she retired Ronda Rousey from WWE. That should be a big deal. And it's not, because as soon as that happened, they did nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've never really capitalized on her outside of NXT.
Yeah.
But I just everything about that match I thought was laid out perfectly, and I thought the little kind of extracurriculars that it had really added to it. The fact that they showed them arriving at the arena and getting in each other's faces, the fact that Shayna like attacked Io before the match, like these are little things that you can do to really build, like make it important. The fact that they referenced their history in NXT, like I just thought the match was flawless and really well put together.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I
But
loved
who,
it.
who do we think's winning this?
Well, we'll get there. I want to talk about Lyra and Zoe. I said last week that no one would do the thing in her entrance, and I guess everyone listened to the show and said, we're going to make Paul look like a fool because people were doing it on Raw, which blew my mind because I'm not convinced anyone actually watches NXT other than the mouth breathers who are in the crowd.
And me.
And B-Rob, thank God, because that's how we got our intro this week. But they're doing her little woo thing, and maybe she'll come into her own here. I don't want to completely, sour on her yet. She did not blow me away in NXT, and I kind of think that she could use some better gear. Like, it kind of looks cheap, but get the presentation behind her and the crowd into it, and maybe they got something with Lyra. At the very least, they have a tag team with her and Becky that they're establishing that friendship. So you could do something with the tag titles.
Has Becky ever won the tag titles? I don't think so, right?
I thought she had. No, she
I
did
thought
with
she did.
Trish. Or Lita.
Trish
Oh.
and Lita.
That's right.
Was it
okay.
Trish and Lita, both of them?
Well, it was
Yeah, it
Trish.
was New Day
but
rule.
one got hurt and one stepped up.
Yeah. So yeah, she's been tag champs, but
Okay.
not with like current people. Maybe she's been with current. I don't think so. But yeah, so we're getting Io versus Lyra on Raw, which should be good. I'm intrigued to see if the crowd's going to be into it because Io's like either super over or not over at all, depending on where they are. And then over on the SmackDown side, on SmackDown this week, Bianca Belair defeated Tiffany Stratton. So she advanced, and then Jade Cargill lost to Nia Jax via DQ because she's dumb. I don't know if anybody watched this, but Nia Jax was like taunting Jade's daughter at ringside and then grabbed a chair, and then Jade took the chair from Nia and then hit her with it and got DQ'd and then was surprised.
Threatening her baby.
She's new to wrestling. She doesn't know all the rules yet.
Yeah, because if this was AEW, it would have been like 20 more minutes outside.
Yeah, who's winning?
Yeah, she
on
was
this
like, wait,
end?
the refs actually do their jobs here?
Yeah, she was surprised. I guess we could get Bianca versus Io because that's a long-term story. Mm-hmm. Or I don't see Nia Jax beating Bianca. Lyra versus Bianca could be interesting, especially if Lyra wins and they build something around her with the crown.
I was convinced kind of like out of the gate that they was going to wind up pushing Jade and Bianca at each other already.
I'm surprised they avoided it, and I kind of hate the way they avoided it. I would have rather they just had a 20-minute match where they showed mutual respect at the end and said, this will be great later. Mm-hmm. Like, they should have just done it. I don't think saving it mattered. I don't think it matters.
I think that's a WrestleMania match, and I think you wait for it.
It is. Mm-hmm. But if you do it today and then you do it at WrestleMania, that's fine.
Nah, but see, never mind. My idea is, I guess, thrown out the window because Jade technically lost on Friday, huh? Because what I was going to say is if they keep Jade undefeated until Mania, it could be her undefeated streak versus Bianca's WrestleMania undefeated streak.
That'd been cool, but I mean, they could still go the route of
she's
never
unpinned.
been pinned.
True, unpinned, yeah.
Yeah. She hasn't been defeated. She's just lost via DQ, which doesn't mean anything.
Sure, fair.
Yeah, I don't know where they go with this one. I'm a little less interested in it because it feels like there's no stakes here other than getting the crown.
When you said that, it made me think of Carmelo Hayes' post-interview. He's like, I didn't lose, I just didn't win.
I appreciate that he's a goober because there's really no other way to present him, H-I-M. Like, if you watch SmackDown this week, LA Knight made a fool out of him, and his match, like, he lost to Orton, which is fine. It was a pretty good match, honestly, but he's still like 5'4" and pretends to be the best that's ever existed. He should be a goober. Like, everything about him is goofy. He runs to do a springboard on the opposite side of the ring when someone's like laying on the stage. I should also note that watching Orton wait in the ring and then his music hitting is like when you dissolve NXT and WWE 2K games and just put him on the main roster and simulate universe mode. Like, it doesn't make sense that those guys are wrestling in the main event of a SmackDown other than someone hit skip for a year.
I don't know. I like Carmelo. Maybe it's because I'm biased since he's from
Boston
Massachusetts.
bias.
That's true.
But I like
Boston folks do. I won't go.
Choose your words carefully.
I was in Boston today, by Fenway Park, and I saw a guy wearing a Mellow Don't Miss shirt, and I said, "Hey," nice shirt. And he said, "Thanks."
Did he get it at the thrift shop or something?
That's too early.
Anyway,
it's too early to be at the thrifty.
Next time we talk about this, we will have our finals for the King of the Ring. Well, no, we won't. We'll almost have it. Because we're recording on Thursday. Unless the power goes out again, in which case we might know the results of the King of the Ring. If we get another fucking tornado.
Ricky Bobby.
Boy, that sucked. But anyway, I think unless there's nothing else to say about King of the Ring or the world title programs, I think we can go to another break. And when we come back, we're going to get into the pretty eventful episode of AEW Dynamite that took place on Wednesday.
All right, folks, welcome back. we're switching gears a little bit. Been a lot of WWE talk on this show today, but switching gears to AEW. We're going to talk about AEW Dynamite, which aired last Wednesday from Everett, Washington. The Young Bucks were all over this show. A lot of stuff happened with them.
I mean, they're the EVPs.
True, they pretty much run the show. Are they still? I missed the intro. Are they still doing the shtick where the whole like Dynamite intro is just them?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
I don't know if they're still doing that, but I thought that was a good bit that they have been running. But if they're still doing it, it's probably time to stop doing that. But anyway, we did get some footage though from New Japan, which maybe B-Rob, you can help explain exactly what was going on here. But Eddie Kingston wrestled over there.
Yes, he defended his New Japan Strong title against Gabe Kidd, which he lost. And it looked like during the course of the match, he sustained somewhat of an injury. I mean, well, it didn't look like it. He did. I mean, there's photographic evidence.
I've seen that GIF. It looks fucked up.
He basically went for like a superplex or like a suplex to the outside and
went too far.
Yeah, hit his legs on the barricade.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like the back of his leg, and it bounced off the steel barricade.
Similar to what put Charlotte out in a way, to where like the leg portion of it or whatever, it just kind of collapsed across the top rope. Where in this instance, the freaking barricade. But yeah,
so that's a
folded up
legit
nice.
injury, right? He's like shoot out.
Yeah, there's like pictures of him in a wheelchair with a leg brace.
Yeah,
and a blunt.
Okay.
And a blunt.
So basically, throughout the course of Dynamite, they were talking about how Eddie Kingston's not going to be available for the Anarchy in the Arena match at the pay-per-view, and kind of a big question mark there whether or not, I guess Team AEW is what they're being called, would be able to find a replacement partner. So that was kind of, the show was kind of built around that. And then Matthew and Nicholas Jackson went on to compete against Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels in a tag team match, which the match was fine, but the big story coming out of it was that after the match, the Young Bucks got on the mic and proceeded to fire Christopher Daniels.
Gone.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
And then later
was a
on,
long match.
I mean, because it was his last match, you know. You had to give him that.
How many? Hang on. I know we have audio.
He's
to
had
play
a lot
here,
of last matches.
Every time Christopher Daniels shows up on AEW is his last match. They find a way to write him off forever. Every fucking time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they wrote him out of the tag team, and then now they're writing him out so he can go like work backstage for real now.
We didn't have to wait long to answer that question of whether or not Team AEW would find a replacement for Eddie Kingston. By the end of the show, it was revealed. So why don't we play some audio for you fine listeners? We'll talk about
this
it.
audio should sound like everything we just talked about. Here you go.
Christopher Daniels, last week, you spoke down to us, and you even put your hands on me. As an executive, you should know better. We're trying to clean up the locker room and the office from toxicity. We've been working hard for several months, and you're trying to screw things up? Are you kidding me? So unfortunately, Christopher Daniels, we're the bearer of bad news tonight. CD, we've got to let you go. You're fired.
What? Oh, no. Oh, they can't do that. All the work that he does in talent relations and backstage. Swarming Dax Harwood after the bell. What a royal jerk Jack Perry is.
What a royal jerk all four of these men are.
Now that hits Cash. And Bryan Danielson as well.
Yeah, but they're down a man.
Yeah, and then actually with Dax on his back, probably down 2 right now. And that's a good point. And the Elite perhaps trying to incapacitate Dax Harwood to make sure they'll have a 4-on-2 advantage in Anarchy in the arena.
Absolutely. That's the pitfalls of taking a match like this.
Wait a second. Oh, Darby Allin! Is that Darby? Oh!
The realization of Excalibur, though, like, whoa, wait a minute.
I have a couple nitpicks to make before Cody makes a very good point, probably.
I got some nitpicks.
I do think this is a little too inside baseball for wrestling in that we're supposed to be upset that Christopher Daniels got fired because of all the stuff he does backstage with talent relations, but also who gives, like, that's a corporate job. As a wrestler, like, he never wrestles on screen. So they fired him from his backstage job, allegedly. But we know that's not true. But we're supposed to not know that, or at least suspend our disbelief of, oh, they really fired him for real this time. Like, I don't know. There's too much like weird blurring of the lines here that I don't buy into at all. Like, it doesn't make them more of a heel for firing him because they didn't really fire him. If it means I don't get to see Christopher Daniels wrestle, that's a pretty common thing week to week. I don't get to see him wrestle, and I'm fine with that, honestly. At this stage, it's not 2004 TNA. I'm not upset about not seeing Christopher Daniels on TV. And then, the fans chanting CM Punk, like, I know that they built this angle around that.
Yikes.
But did you think he was going to show up and, like, save Team AEW or something?
I'm delusional, so for, like, a second, I kind of did.
What? Are you on drugs?
Like, for a split second, I was like, what if?
This is some John Moxley showing up at WrestleMania XL type of shit.
That seems more believable than CM Punk ever going back to AEW. True. Considering how much he genuinely hated it there and how much he seems to be, like, the happiest he's ever been in his life currently, even for a guy whose arm is broken.
I think Paul makes some good points here. I think the main issue is that we don't see Christopher Daniels on television on a regular basis. And this, like, comment from, Excalibur about all he does in talent relations, it's like, that's not something we see. That's not something that's ever talked about. That's not something that, within the confines of AEW television really matters. So I agree that this firing, quote unquote, is not very effective. Although I did laugh when they started the promo, and you can see here in our audio clip, someone in the crowd just goes, "You're fired.
You're fired."
And also shocked, by the way, that they didn't drop a "We wish you the best"
in the future endeavors line or whatever. But I mean, that's kind of played out. But, like, my nitpicks of this whole thing or whatever,
I think that's a good
like,
line. Hang on. I think that's a good line. I think it should be avoided because I think the wrestling industry should ignore Vince McMahon going forward. And I think the future endeavors thing is too tied to him. Even as a heel, I think let's not make people think about Vince McMahon on a regular basis. Anyway, I'm sorry, B-Rob. Please continue.
But those nitpicks I got or whatever with this whole thing, Tony Schiavone, divulging that information. Oh, well, all the shit that he does backstage and all that other stuff. To me, when I listen to Taz and Excalibur do commentary, I kind of feel like Tony Schiavone is there for the ride. And, like, he seems to me that, like, Excalibur and Taz are his kids from a divorced family. And, like, he's trying to do this job with them to kind of bond and work his way back into their good graces. Yeah. Or trying to be cool dad. Hours. Yeah, it's just like, oh, he did do that move real good, didn't he, son? Huh? Right? Am I doing well, son?
I don't get the same vibe that you get. I think he was just trying to find a reason to make us care that Christopher Daniels got fired, because even he was like, who cares?
But that's just in general, like, all time for me, not just in this portion. But what I will say about this, like the things that what Cody was saying about, them bringing those things up and talking about that stuff, they assume, and, I guess you all or some of us are in the minority with this, to where like everybody knew that, and all this is kind of like BTE shit on the side. So like they know Christopher Daniels does that job. I mean, it was a part of his character on BTE. So a lot of people still playing off of that.
I mean, that's the thing that AEW's product is. It is for
this. They got this company because of being the elite, to be honest.
for like the smarter audience or the smart fan base of like, we're all in the know. Everyone in that crowd knows what's going on. They're not. And everyone's kind of in on it. And that's why their fan base is so like rabid in terms of like, we're part of this too, because we all know. We're all in the know. And that, if anything, I think that makes them more of marks in a way. It's fine. Like, it's just the way the business evolves. But I think it hurts your business growth as a company to be like, if I'm flipping on AEW for the first time, I'm sure that sounds crazy to some people, but there's a likely chance that someone is turning it on for the first time. Are they supposed to be upset when they see Christopher Daniels get fired, this old bald guy in the ring who looks like he was on a male enhancement drug commercial in the 90s and 2000s for being in a rock band, and now he's living his best life in his 50s? Like, is this the guy that I'm supposed to have sympathy for? And also, what's the payoff there? Like, what am I tuning in for next week? To see, I guess it's to see the Young Bucks get beat up by Darby Allin and friends.
Yeah, or to see who they're going to fire next because they're wielding their power.
The fire guys. That's why people tune into The Apprentice every week. Who's he
right.
going to fire next? He's such a good leader. That's the stuff people tune in for. I hope the Young Bucks never become president. But yeah, I don't know. It's just and this is me probably hating the Young Bucks too much, but I just think this angle stinks. There's a lot of like grasping at straws and stretching that needs to be done for it to be interesting. But
I'm enjoying it.
I like that Darby Allin's there.
Yeah, well, that's cool. I mean, and then like you saying, I mean, it may not be something that you like because of how you feel about them, but people like Noah and the people that are immersed in the lore or been with them for the long haul, I mean, they digging it.
Well,
they getting it.
And it's also like kind of one of the only things that's actually happening on AEW right now.
True.
So there's also that that's
Swerve.
like really one of the only thing. Yeah, that and Swerve are like one of the really some of the only things to actually grab onto.
I disagree. I think there's a few things to grab onto right now. I think it's cool
Some
that Darby's
things I would
back.
like to grab onto.
Well, speaking of grabbing onto things, Aleister Black. I'm sorry, Malachi Black.
Same difference.
Whatever. He did the same thing a few weeks ago when he called. That was like a couple months ago now, but when he called Claudio Cesaro. Anyway, the House of Black and Edge. I've been enjoying this feud. Took kind of an interesting turn here today, but on Dynamite, where the House of Black ganged up on Adam Copeland, and they stole his wedding ring.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why? Couldn't tell you, but
He explained it.
Yeah, he did like an online promo.
Yeah,
right?
he did they aired a promo after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the promo, and even I'm not fully buying like what it's about.
Yeah.
But also, Edge is supposed to turn
when
like
it comes,
Spoopy and make a Judgment Day with them.
we told you that, man. As soon as he got the Mr. Knives, we was like, oh god, here we go.
Yeah.
maybe they won't be called Judgment Day though, because that's taken. But they can take another mid 2000s WWE pay per view like No Mercy.
Yeah.
Also, do any of you guys remember in TNA when Hulk Hogan gifted Abyss his Hall of Fame ring?
Yeah,
Yes,
the power.
Of course.
And then Abyss got the power of Hogan. Do you think if Malachi Black puts on Edge's wedding ring that he'll like gain his powers?
Yeah. Yeah, he learns how to do a crazy good spear.
He learns how to get the phone number of Alter Bridge and
Yeah. But just imagine though, like someone's cutting a promo, and then you hear dun 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 dun.
Yeah. I don't think WWE owns that song. There's no reason there can't be two uses of that song in the wrestling world. That'd be so cool if they could pull that off. I bet they wouldn't, but that'd be so cool.
I'm excited for the match between the two. Whatever shenanigans surround it, fine.
Very interested.
But I think at first I was a little skeptical of the first world title feud for our new champion Swerve. Just because it seemed kind of random, kind of shoehorned in. But now that I've thought about it, and now that I've seen the story play out a little more, it does make a lot of sense. I did kind of forget the history that Swerve and Nick Wayne have, which they went into.
I love that they brought it up.
Yeah,
I love that they mirrored. Yeah, they mirrored the whole situation.
Yeah,
they beat, just as he went into his house, beat him up, held the phone picture thing up in his face. They did the same thing to Swerve. They beat him up, they held him down, they put the picture in his face. It was the same thing.
It was really good, and I enjoy Christian being like, every week I'm going to take something from you until Double or Nothing, when I'm going to take your world title.
Good stuff.
So like he took his blood, and
his Mogul Embassy.
He took his Mogul Embassy. Like, yeah, this feud is turning out pretty good. But at the same time, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that Swerve's winning, but he definitely needs to win because he's been kind of getting his ass handed to him this whole time.
I mean, it seems like his MO. He got his ass whipped the whole time with Hangman. He got his ass whipped the whole time with Samoa Joe until he eked it out at the end.
The whole time.
Well, yeah, he did hand Joe.
Now that he's a babyface, he does feel a bit weaker,
vulnerable,
which I think is part of it. You got to have the sympathy for him,
right?
And they're kind of working it in. He's like, "I did some horrible things, and we're gonna remind you of it."
Yeah. But I think they're doing a good job with a few of these stories. Another story that that developed on Dynamite was between the TBS champion Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Moné. They had a contract signing during the show, which why don't we listen in on some of that?
This is the TBS Championship. It's a championship that celebrates the legacy of professional wrestling. A legacy that dates back over 50 years on this very channel. A legacy built on fighting, on hard work, dedication, and defending. Making a name for yourself in the face of obstacles. That is something that every woman who's held this title represents. That's what my friend Chris Statlander in the back represents. And now I'm the face of TBS. And this title is what matters to me. So through all of that, I am not gonna let you just walk into AEW and take that away. Not now, not a Double or Nothing, never.
Now, Willow, you wanna talk about legacy to me? You know, money changes everything is not just a catchphrase, it's a fact. Back in 2015 at Brooklyn, while you were still training, I was out here creating and changing the game forever. And now, Willow, I know the best part of your career was beating me, but at Double or Nothing, now that I am healthy, you losing will still be the best part that ever happened to you. Because my legacy, it's all about winning.
You keep believing that. Because the last time we wrestled, I walked away a champion. And you didn't walk out at all.
So
that
all
was
that,
bars.
yeah. So all that shit for her to lose.
She shouldn't. Willow is like so good,
Yes.
and her losing this is a bad idea. I also enjoyed. I love that people are like thinking that Sasha should be like a big time actress and a big star, but she delivers lines like, "My legacy? You want to talk about my legacy? Ha ha ha!" Like, we love naturally laughing at the end of a regular statement. Just human normal shit. Like this, she don't have it, folks. Like, this is, to me, this is one of those things where it's, you need, certain people in wrestling need the presentation of WWE. We learned this with Jeff Hardy and Ken Kennedy at one point. Like, once you leave the company, you feel lesser than, because you don't have whatever it is the guardrails they put up are to keep you in your lane and present you as a star. I don't think Mercedes comes off half as good as Sasha ever did in most of her segments.
I thought she was mostly fine here.
She's
something
fine, but this is not a person who presents herself as fine. If she comes off as fine, that's bad. She's supposed to be one of the best to ever do it. And I think she looked like an absolute goober here. And with the idea that she wants to be a big time movie star or TV actress, no. No.
Something I didn't realize until just now, listening to the audio with no visuals. You know who Willow Nightingale kind of reminds me of on the mic? AJ Lee. She has a very similar like cadence and just sound to her voice.
They kind of have similar vibes in a way.
Yeah, which is, by the way, not a knock at all. Like, that's, if you're gonna,
it's a good thing.
Yeah, if you're gonna sound like someone, that's a great example to sound like. But I don't know. I just thought of that. But anyway, I thought this was a money making segment. I almost want to say that this match should main event.
It should.
Double or Nothing.
It should, because they don't present Swerve as a main eventer right now. Like, he's middle of the card. He's not the top storyline, which is a bummer. And honestly, I think the Young Buck stuff is too polarizing in terms of, like, I don't know. Nothing feels like the main program other than Mercedes' debut in AEW versus Willow, who is like the best babyface they have. Mm-hmm. That should main event.
Yeah.
Especially because the elite match is supposed to be like Anarchy in the Arena.
Yeah.
That seems like I don't know. Is that silly to close the show with? Probably not, but let them do it.
Yeah.
Tear the house down.
They haven't main evented a AEW pay-per-view yet with women, so I think we're due. Also, we didn't play the clip, but I would like to point out that something that made me laugh was Willow during her promo referenced her quote Titantron, which someone needs to explain to her that that's not like
a universal term.
Yeah, that is very much a WWE term. You shouldn't be calling your entrance video that.
I'm sure somebody in the back pulled her aside and said that, who is probably nitpicking those little things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I might know who that person is.
But it should be called the Contron.
Exactly. Yeah. Contron. Very good.
Contra.
Anyway, does anybody have any more
video game
all elite thoughts?
I feel like they are on a upward swing, if you will. I think AEW has been kind of revving up, and I'm sure the pay-per-view will deliver. And I hope that they continue to succeed.
It definitely felt like there was a slight downturn after MJF got injured.
Right.
Where it was, all right, we need to rebuild. And it definitely feels like they are now on the trajectory of like, all right, we got it back. I hope they continue that. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. Like, if if Willow loses this title and is immediately off TV and we pivot to a program with like Mercedes and Taya Valkyrie, well, then we got a fucking problem.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Because losing the TBS title, sometimes is a good thing. You might get signed to WWE and built and treated like a big star, or you might just not be on TV at all. So hopefully they have a plan for after. If it's feuding with Serena Deeb, that is also a problem.
Rising tide lifts all boats.
Well, sounds like nobody else has anything to say. So, folks, we didn't get all of it, but we will try again next week. If you liked the show, please subscribe. Didn't get all of it wherever you get your podcast. Write us a review. If you really like the show, tell your friends, send a tweet, post a clip, and consider joining the Patreon at patreon.com/fatal4pod. That's fatal FOUR pod. For only $3 a month, you get ad-free episodes, full access to the exclusive Discord where stuff happens all the time. Like B-Rob, you had power yesterday, and you hosted a little powwow on the Discord. What happened?
Oh yeah, it was fun. We did a movie watch along. We called it in association with Marvel double feature. So we watched Morbius and Madam Web back to back, and we had a good old time in the Discord, just dissecting and bullshitting about these two movies.
That's the kind of fun stuff you can expect in the Discord. Personally, I was glad my power was off for that, but I'm sure it was fun for everybody that was there. I'm not interested in watching bad movies for fun. I watch bad movies because they're good, like A Night at the Roxbury. But also this month on the Patreon, we're doing a special Oops All email edition of Didn't Get All of It. So head to fatal4pod.com, send us your emails. If you have questions about the show, now's the time to ask them. Do you want us to talk about something? Go ahead and send it in. If you have complaints, we'll read those too. I'm sure that there's somebody who's got something to complain about. But yeah, send us an email through the form on the website, fatal4pod.com. We'll do Oops All emails, in the next 11 days on the Patreon. And finally, if you are subscribing, great, thank you. But your support goes a long way, so reviews are important, sharing is important. But overall, thank you for supporting the show. And if you missed any of that, all of it can be found at fatal4pod.com. For myself and the rest of the Fatal 4, we will see you next week.